wastage happens over there, and they need to cut many parts of the human bodies to really understand the anatomy of the problem that is there in the human body. So that's why the simulator is one of the emerging field in the field of orthopedic healthcare. It is because the solutions for several orthopedic healthcare practices is being provided with this one field, that is the development of simulators, orthopedic simulators. So the expectation of orthopedic healthcare is the healthcare society from the computer scientists and also engineers, who are people. Engineers means the hardware developers. See, only software development is not the field. Even hardware field, hardware development field is also associated with it. So what is actually expected from them towards the development of the simulators? So what they expect is, they expect the pre-operative outcome prediction system. So before conduct of the surgery, they want to look at how actually, suppose for example, let us assume a patient comes with the accident. Okay, the patient has met with a severe accident and many bone parts have broken, and the patient comes on the surgery table. So before conducting the surgery, doctor want to know exactly where all fractures have happened. So if they look at X-ray, sometimes the X-ray may not be clear, or they may not be able to properly judge where where fracture have happened. So if we provide a simulator and provide proper information that in so and so parts breakages have happened, exactly how dislocations have happened, all these information if we properly provide, then the doctor exactly will have idea of where breakage has happened, where he has to cut the part, where he has to need to join, all that idea he will get. So here computer simulation plays very important role in pre-operative prediction. Then intra-operative assistance system. See, when he opens the part, when he cuts the body and he opens, there also he will have muscles, blood and all. And then exactly how to join those parts also is a challenging for the medical expert. If he is a very senior surgeon, he will be knowing entire detail of the anatomy. He will be easily able to do the suturing, joining of the bones. Then if there are rod fitting, all these he can easily do it. But if he's a young doctor, he has done less surgeries, then again he has to do a lot of learning during the conduct of the surgery. So there also our expert system will definitely help. Then in the virtual reality based skill training simulators, suppose for example a professor, medical professor want to train his graduate students, want to train his PG students, at that time also with the simulator training will be very better. Otherwise every time you need to cut and show, okay, and you want to show a specific case like a accident case, and if there is no accident he cannot show it. Okay, so at that time these simulators will help the doctors to train the young trainees or to train the medical graduates. So then in the computer aided detection and computer aided diagnosis, that is what, while detecting computer based detection of these broken bones, or in the diagnosis system also, these are very helpful. So these kind of thing where our problem basically is useful, where our task what we are developing, what our simulator what we are developing, where they are actually useful, we have looked at. Now let us look at what we are basically focusing, in which research problems we are focusing. So here we will focus on design and development of the computer aided detection as well as computer aided diagnosis systems. Okay, so our focus will be on the design of these things, and basically we start with the data collection, okay, and then how we use the approach for design of such systems, and also to analyze and treat complex bone fractures also we are going to focus in our presentation today. So before understanding the actual problems and how we are going for the approaches, let us understand the bone structure. Okay, so prospective pre-operative outcome prediction system. What is basically pre-operative outcome prediction system? So generally used the expert 1 day prior to treatment is, so before conducting of the treatment, the expert will look at the
Excuse me,
problem.
sir.
Okay. Uh, okay.
So
So before
one of
conduct of the any surgery, the doctor will look at the entire scenario of the problem. Okay. So when suppose for example there may be a accident case, so many a times bone is such a way it will get dislocated. It will go somewhere else also. Okay, it may
excuse me, sir.
go into somewhere else also. In some of the cases, even some bone parts get missing. In the accident place itself, they will break and they will fall over there, or they may be fallen somewhere else. So these kind of severe cases also may be there. So at that time, expert before conducting the surgery, he has to understand entire scenario of the surgery case. Okay, so there he need what kind of help he need. So he need help in finding alternative way to execute surgery. Okay, so there may be multiple ways to conduct the surgery. He has to find all
Excuse
the
me, sir.
alternative ways to conduct the surgery. Am I audible, na? Then he need to also help
Sir,
in
you are
identifying
audible, but your
was
screen is not visible.
screen is not visible.
Sir, yes, sir, it's not shared. I think someone has presented. So kindly once again you share it, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now is it visible?
Okay, so now it's visible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
My
sir.
audio
Yes, sir.
is
It's
clear.
visible. Sorry, sir. Sorry for it.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, so what I was telling is even the identifying possible misinterpretations during actual surgery. See, you have assumed something. Okay, so the bone structure is something like this after I mean accident and all. But actually, when you open up, when you means a doctor open up, actually it may be something else. Okay, so you may have wrongly interpreted. So that also sometime happens. Then decide do have heard about the knee implant would have become unusable at that time. They conduct the knee implant and fit the implant and then they join the knee part. Okay, so this we call it as a knee implant. It may happen even for the shoulder implant, shoulder and knee implant. So during that time also you need to understand the proper things. I mean what implants you must have, that also you must have. Otherwise you have cut every part and then you are searching for the implant and implant is not available or proper implant is not available, then that will be the horrible situation. Okay, so you have to keep everything. I mean the surgeon has to do all these pre-planning before conduct of the surgery. Then improve surgery success rate. That will be your ultimate goal. Whenever you conduct a surgery, you should have a success. Okay, successfully surgery must be conducted. That will be your ultimate goals. So here in below images, you can find a 3D hip replacement surgery planning. Okay, that you can find in the below image. Then if we look at the intraoperative assistance system, when operation starts, at that time, what way our simulator will help, our simulation system will help. So basically during the intra-operation, that is during conduct of operation, you can see in figure, there is one operation theater in that many machines are helping. Okay, even this is basically a robotic assisted, entirely robots are performing the surgery. Okay, so the robots are performing surgery doesn't mean that doctors are there. Doctors are sitting over there and they are seeing the videos and they are helping the robots. Robot will not conduct the entire surgery, but so the doctors will take the assistance of robots. Entire control will be in the hands of the doctors only. Okay. So the assist experts during the our robots, which have both software as well as hardware, they assist the doctors or surgeons in conduct of the surgery. What way they will assist? They will perform the mechanical tasks such as drilling or sewing, putting the stitches, and these kind of things they will basically perform in the robotic based surgeries. So robotic assisted surgery, you can see in the picture where there is no doctor found in the entire scene. Entirely robots are doing surgery, but doctors and experts are there. They are monitoring this surgery and they are actually controlling these robots to conduct the surgery. So nowadays this has become common in many of the foreign countries, and doctors are sitting somewhere in different countries, different places, different cities, and they will take the help of these robots to conduct the surgery. So this is one of the knee implant replacement surgery. In this figure you can see robots are conducting knee implant on the patients. What are the skill or task simulator? I mean, what basically the simulators will do in this? So simulator is basically a software. You can see in this second figure. In the first figure, the simulator picture, somebody is performing a simulation operation. In the second figure, you show the devices involved in the entire simulation operation. Here in the simulation, computer is needed. A software with the simulator, whatever the simulator you develop, in that you have to have that simulator software. In fact, the software is being designed by the medical engineer. Okay, what you are going to look at, medical engineers, they develop the software. Okay, and then there will be electromagnetic tracking device is there, then the electromagnetic transmitter is there. These are some of the devices that are used in the they have used artificial femur also. Femur is a bone. The femur bone, it's a like from shoulder to the hand, whatever the bone we have, that is known as femur bone. So a femur bone they use for learning, training the simulation. So basically here it creates a patient-free, controlled, unhurried environment. So when you develop a simulator for trainers, for training purpose, there no patient is required, because for training purpose we use this that the entire simulator will work, and we may have some artificial bones, and the person who is getting training, they will work on these artificial environment, over the artificial bones. They will have actual drilling machine. Okay, and these actual drilling machine are fitted with the sensors. Okay, and they generate the signals, and these signals are sent to computers for the simulation purpose. They conduct these drilling, they conduct the stitching. Okay, all these they will conduct, but not on the patient. Okay, they conduct on the artificial devices. Okay, they use artificial implants. Okay, they do all procedure, but they are not doing, while training, they are not doing on actual patients, they are doing on artificial devices. So this environment will be a patient free. So when these training are being conducted, even the person who is getting training need not worry, because there is no actual patient, and you need not worry of the life and death. And then it is a controlled environment where the people will be monitoring you, the expert will be monitoring you while conducting these trainings, and you need not do any hurriness, because the patient is not going to die here in this situation. You have to do it with a comfort level. Okay, without any tension, with full of comfort level. The training, the person who is getting training has to do this task. Then you can do it repeatedly also. Suppose you fail for the first time. Okay, you could not do proper stitching, or you could not do proper drilling. What you can do is you can take another bone and you can again do drilling practice. Again you can do the stitching practice. So here there is nothing like actual patient is there, so you can do many number of times, you can do many number of practices also. So with a minimum cost, only thing is you have to again drill another artificial bone. So you are using a virtual augmented reality. Okay, whatever the actual things you are doing there, that will be shown in a three-dimensional view over there. Okay, so you will be looking at the screen, or you will have a headgear, okay, wearing on your eye, and as you do all these practices, you will feel like you are doing actually on the patient. Okay, you will visualize as though you are doing it on the patient, because that kind of simulator software will be available with you. So when you drill it, okay, you are drilling actually on the table, but you will visualize like you are actually doing it on the patient. And when you apply the force, that force you will feel in your hand, because the simulator is working on that. Okay, so there we use actually the virtual augmented reality with the haptic technology. So this haptic technology brings the force that we are applying. a feeling of force. See, if you slap a person, okay, slapping, there are different type of slapping. You can slap with a full force, or you can slap slowly. So if you slap with a full force, the person will feel your slap very badly. If you simply touch his, if you nicely, gently touch, then he will feel very good. Okay. So likewise, when you apply a different type of force, then depending on the different type of force, if actual patient is there, then your drilling effect will be different. It can drill entire, that suppose you are drilling on the leg, it can entirely drill and go in the other part. Okay, that kind of, you must have that feeling, no? So that's why that feeling effect is also will be provided in the simulators, because you have to understand. Okay, so when you apply more force, there will be more drilling. If you apply less force, there will not be any drilling at all. Okay, so that kind of haptic technology is also involved in the simulators, that is built in the simulators. So while taking the teaching, that is while training, okay, help in teaching, training and assessment of various orthopedic psychomotor skills and surgical procedures. So why we need these devices? Because see, when you take a new person and ask him to conduct a surgery on the live patient, okay, he must have theoretically studied it. But if he has not performed any training, then he never will be able to do good practice. Okay, the patient, there is 100% sure that the patient will lose leg, arm, whatever. Okay, so for that reason, training is very, very important. So nowadays, modern simulators are available, which were not available in the earlier days. Okay, that's why earlier days, if doctor is not good, then he will definitely harmful for the patients. So nowadays we have very good simulators. These simulators can be used for training the persons, for teaching, training, and then assessing also. Okay, whether he has properly taken the training, whether he is conducting these things properly or not. So for assessing that also, these simulators are important. So in fact, we wanted to have a simulator that doctor, okay, my friend who is in Mysore Medical College, he wanted to have a small simulator developed from us. We are still working on that. It's a very long problem. I have given this problem to many students, but students could not do it. But one of my students is really doing some good work. Let us see whether we can be able to develop 1 or 2 small simulators in our research. So then what is the CAD-E and CAD-X bone fracture analysis? So computer-aided detection and analysis, computer-aided detection and computer-aided diagnosis. What is this basically? This. So computer-aided detection basically helps the experts or radiologists avoid overlooking bone injuries. So in detecting where exactly bone injury has happened, okay, where exactly they have to conduct the surgery, in understanding that, this CAD-E helps. And it can also automatically analyze and detect fractured bones. So it will provide a 3D view of where exactly the bone fracture has happened. Even you can rotate and see. Okay, so suppose a bone has been broken, you can rotate the bone. Okay, rotate bone means not the patient's bone, the 3D view of the bone, you can rotate and see where exactly the breakages have happened, where they got spread and all. So that all help will be taken using the computer-aided detection algorithms or simulators. Then computer-aided diagnosis. During the diagnosis also we can take help of these simulators. So they basically help the radiologist decide whether bone injuries are severe or mild injuries are there, and even they help in deciding the suitable recovery plan or process. So surgery, it may be surgery, or it may be through treatment, the recovery plan or whatever the process they do. So whether in that, they also, these CAD, computer-aided diagnosis, are really helpful. So CAD-E and CAD-X systems rely on computerized imaging tools and techniques. They are totally rely on computer-based tools and techniques, particularly to build or to assist medical experts from screening to diagnosis purposes. So they will look at the computer-generated images. They look at the computer-generated 3D images or videos and all, and then based on that, they will take the treatment plan. So these systems are built on image processing tools. Okay, they use computer vision tools, they use computer graphics also, they use visual reality, virtual reality, they use machine learning algorithms and tools like deep learning algorithms currently people are using. So these tools, okay, image processing, computer vision, computer graphics, virtual reality, machine learning algorithms, these are extensively used in developing the CAD-E as well as CAD-X systems. Okay, simulators, what we call. Then now we will focus on our bone problem, which we are basically looking at. So why we need the CAD for bone fracture analysis? Bone fracture analysis. Why basically we need this? So if you look at bone fracture, most of the common consequence of severe accident that happens, or whenever a person falls from any high places, okay, bone fracture happens. Bone fracture may happen at any place. It may be to our leg part, it may be finger part also, it may be hand fingers, hand parts, or it may be head, it may be back, okay, it may be chest bones, anywhere it can happen, okay, depending on what part touches on the earth, okay. So the bone fracture is common in many of the accidents, or even while going on the road itself, if you fall, even on the bone fracture may happen, okay, anytime it may happen. So if you look at the statistics of the bone fractures, majorly bone fractures are found in the traffic accidents, okay. So WHO come out with a statistics on this. WHO report says a lot of increase in the number of road traffic accident is happening every year, and in most of the traffic accidents, bone fracture is commonly found. Approximately 20% of orthopedic works occupy with the trauma cases happening due to the road traffic accident. So most of the if you look at in medical or in the hospitals, in the orthopedic centers, in the hospitals and all, most of the case, more than 20%, okay, are due to the accident only. Then the role of what is the role of CAD and CAD-E and CAD-X? So development of CAD-E and CAD-X for analysis of bone injury is, so this play very important role. CAD-X and CAD-E and CAD-X play very important role in reducing the burden during the understanding of the problem as well as during the conduct of the surgery, and not only during the conduct of the surgery, post-surgery treatment also, recovery, during the recovery also, CAD-X as well as CAD-E simulators or analysis provide play very important role. Okay, then the CAD, that is computer aided diagnosis, general steps. What are the steps involved? Suppose you want to do a research in CAD-X, the computer aided diagnostic simulators. Okay, you want to work on this problem. Then what are the steps involved? As I was telling, the first step will be the collection of data. This is a very important step, and if you complete this step, almost your 50% headache will be reduced. Why? Because getting proper data is very important in medical system because of so many reasons. We will see what are the reasons why we get difficulty. There are many human issues are involved. Many a times, sometimes if without consent, if we use the images, then it will be treated as a crime also. Okay, so many issues are involved over here. So for that reason, collection of proper image is one of the important step in this problem. Okay, so the collection of patient specific image is required, where you may collect the X-ray image or CT scan image problem. So you must have either X-ray image or CT image or MRI image. If you want to go for a 3-dimensional, then you have to go for CT and MRI. If you want to analyze the 2D images, then X-ray images are sufficient. So once you collect the images, you need to perform pre-processing. So possibly the image may contain noise or unwanted artifacts. In many of the images, there may be external objects also while conducting the this thing, you may find some object in the human body, so that also may intervene your conduct of things. So these kind of things may be found in the image, so you have to go for pre-processing stage. So once you complete the pre-processing stage, then you have to localize. So on which part you are actually interested. So bone will be so long, okay, and fracture may have happened in a small part. So you are only interested in that part, okay. You have to only localize. Otherwise, what happens? You start doing the running your algorithm. It may be working on the normal part, and unnecessarily it is wasting its time, or it may give a wrong result, and then that will not help the doctors to conduct their surgery. So you have to localize area where you are interested in. Then you have to do labeling. Suppose, for example, bone is broken. It has broken into number of pieces, and then you have to label those pieces. Okay, which part it is. Otherwise, what happens? You have improperly labeled, and the doctor fit one bone in a different part. Then the surgery will not complete, or the patient will suffer for lifelong. Okay, so you have to do proper labeling. So labeling basically involves you assigning unique number to each fractured component of the bone with a considering of that bone anatomy, the original structure of that bone. So you have to do labeling over there. Then what are the clinical aspects involved in this entire things? The clinical aspects involved are anatomy of the long bone. We have to understand what actually the bone, how it looks like, what are the parts of the bone. Then we will also, since we have conducted our experiment on CT, we will study more on CT. I was just describing in previous presentation that we will study more on the CT. Why? Because we are using CT images. Then the type of fractures also we will look in this presentation, because this is our work. I am presenting whatever the work we have done. So we have to understand actually the background. Then we will look at what results we got, what experiments we have done, okay, how we have developed the simulators. All that we will look at later. So basically in the human, we have worked on two types of bones. One is the leg bone, another one is the shoulder bone. Okay, so here you can find two types of bones. One we call it as a femur bone. Femur bone, it is present in the lap, that is in the leg, upper part of the leg, what we call it as a thigh. Okay, so there that runs from the hip, our hip to knee. Okay, that is upper part of the bone. That is the first one shown in the picture, that we call it as a femur bone. So we have done our experiment on these type of bones. We have also used a humerus bone, that is arm bone. Okay, the upper part of our hand. Okay, so this humerus bone present in the arm that runs from the shoulder to elbow. Okay, shoulder to elbow. So that bone also we have used for the experimentation for our problem. So the humerus and femur bone are corresponding to the bone of the arm and leg respectively, while their parts are similar in you can both look similar, but their structure have been adopted in different functions. So their structure is different. So leg bone will do different thing and arm bone will do different thing. Even though their purpose is just for the movement itself, but their purpose is little bit different. We cannot fit a arm bone to leg bone. Okay, that is not good. So the head of the humor is almost hemisphere. You can see in both, their head is looking like a round, okay, hemisphere. Okay, while that of the femur forms that rest of the about 2/3 of the sphere. You can see the rest of the part, that is a slim long bone part, that is a 2/3 part it is, and both end, that is 1/3 part. Both end cover 1/3 part. So then the head of the humor is almost hemisphere. Okay, so there is a strong ligament passing from head to femur. See, this bone, remaining bone part is there, no? It is very strong. It is made of the calcium, okay, and it is very strong. Okay, so that ensures that okay, so it is very strong and ensure its position in the acetabulum. Okay, so these are medical words. I will not focus on much on this. Let us look at more detailed analysis of the bone. So if we look at the anatomy of bone, so it is divided into basically two parts, in fact, two parts. The upper and lower part, that becomes one part, and the middle part, that is the second one. So we call these two parts as diaphysis. Okay, diaphysis. Okay, that is shaft, that is middle part. Okay, diaphysis, it is basically the middle part. In the side image you can see this middle part, it is known as diaphysis, or it is even shaft in our engineering word. Then epiphysis, physis. Okay, this is two end parts what we have. Okay, so in epiphysis again we have two, that is proximal epiphysis, that is upper part, what you can see in that picture. Then the lower part is known as distal epiphysis. Okay, so these two parts, that is upper part of the bone and lower part of the bone. Then basically bone is made up of two types of tissues. In the bone we have two types of tissues. One is outside, what we can find, okay, that is called as cortical tissue. So outside, okay, outside, that is actually hard part, okay, dense part. So this is known as cortical tissue. So it is dense in nature, okay, very hard, okay, then provides strength. It provides strength to our body, okay. So even if you bend our hand, it will not break that easily. Okay. Then it present at it is the outer part. It protects the inner part of the things. What is known as inner part is cancellous. Cancellous. Okay, that is inner part of the tissue. This cancellous is spongy in nature. It is smooth. Okay, it is not hard. It is inside the bone. Okay, we sometimes even called as a bone marrow, something like that. It is spongy in nature, and it helps basically whenever there is a injury happens to recover the injury. This will help. Okay, and it is present inside the bone tube. Okay, inside the bone it is hollow. It is not a solid. Okay, inside that there is a hollow tube, and inside that tube it is this cancellous will be present. Then we have seen the entire structure of the bone. Now let us come to CT imaging. Okay, we have to understand more on this because we are going to use CT imaging technique in our entire experiment. So actually the computer tomography or computer aided tomography, what is generally we use, it is being developed by a person called as Godfrey Hounsfield. Okay, he developed this in 1972. It is a revolutionary revolutionary findings, what we can call revolutionary innovation. Why? Because after CT, many medical in medical practice, many things have changed. Many revolutions have brought during this. Before that, we had only X-ray, two-dimensional image we can visualize and do surgeries and all. Then the CT images are formed by making use of X-ray that we have already discussed in that. The X-ray measurements taken from several angles to produce the cross-sectional tomographic images. So here what we do, we will see in the next images how we actually capture this. Then it provides a clear insight into the scanned object without doing any cutting. So to take the CT, we need not do any surgery, we need not do even we need not touch the patient. Okay. Is my I'm audible? Okay, so without doing any surgery and all, without cutting the, am I audible, no? Am I audible?
Okay.
Hello.
Sir, Badresh,
sir,
lecture में नहीं होता?
sir.
I'm audible. Okay, okay.
Yes, sir, audible, sir.
So,
Badresh, sir.
okay, fine. I think my presentation window has gone.
Hospital, what you?
Okay, I will continue. No issues. Somebody is speaking, I think, behind. Okay, my presentation is visible, I hope.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, kindly ask the participant to mute their mic because there is a little bit disturbance.
Is my presentation visible?
Kindly mute your mic, sir. Professor, who is speaking? Participants.
He is already talking. Kindly ask them to mute their mics.
Yes, yes, madam. I am doing that one.
Okay, so I was just discussing about the CT imaging. So without performing any surgery, without performing any even touching also, we can obtain this CT scannings. Okay, so it's in that device the patient has to sit, and then CT imaging uses multiple X-rays, and it captures the three-dimensional view of the things that I have already explained in my previous presentation, how we obtain the 3D view of the CT images. Then we will measure, basically based on this we can measure the density of the material what we are on which we are conducting the CT. So how basically we measure means density is expressed by Hounsfield units. It is named after the developer of this CT technique. So it is measured using the Hounsfield units. So air is having a Hounsfield units of -1000, water is having 0 Hounsfield, then dense bone have 1000 Hounsfield. So lower limit and upper limit is -1000 to +1000. So in between whatever material we have, they are all at the different Hounsfields. So depending on the density, the image will get a different intensities. So then how actually the CT is conducted, you can see the picture here. This is a CT device. So in the second picture you can see the CT rays. Okay, in the second image you can see the CT rays. They get focused on the body, and this camera, whatever you can see, it rotates actually in this box. This camera, it's not a visual camera, it is a CT camera. This rotates, okay, and it covers like this. You can see it rotates and it covers the human body entirely, and that's how it will be able to generate the slices. Okay, and those slices we can combine and we can see 3D view. Okay, and we can open up each slice and we can be able to visualize. So the X-ray generator generating X-ray beams are rotated. These are X-ray generators. The CT camera what I was describing, these are X-ray generators. So it generates the X-ray beam and are rotated around the human body. They will get rotated around the human body, and the X-ray detectors, those are fitted exactly opposite to this. See, this is the X-ray emitter. Okay, there is a detector also on the opposite side. So that detector will be able to capture these X-ray signals, okay, which are fitted exactly opposite to it in the opposite side, 180-degree opposite side in the circular form. And X-rays, so these signals are captured over there, and then that sends the signals to the computer, and computer generates a 3D view of these signals. Now I told you 3D view, we call that as a XCT stack. Okay, it is known as CT stack. Stack means what? One over the another. So the two-dimensional images are joined together. Okay, that will become a 3D view. Okay, they are stacked one over the another. So a comprehensive collection of number of CT slices is known as CT stack. Basically, this helps to preserve the depth information, where even we maintain the depth information of the image tissues. Okay, the tissues present in the human body, and using all these stack we can construct a 3D. Okay, 3D view can be constructed, and once we construct a 3D view, we can rotate, we can roll, we can do whatever. Okay, we are doing over the image, not on the actual human body. So we can do all this to see the actual view of the entire bone part. And then basically this helps in measuring the X-ray beam attenuation of individual tissues, and the quantitative measurements and the discrimination of individual tissue is also possible. So we can do analysis over this. We can open up, we can look at inside, okay, and we can do analysis on these using these images. So what is actually each slides basically contains? So the CT image, each pixel is its image is formed with the pixels. Okay, entire image is formed with the pixels, and each pixel will have a gray level. It have a location as well as it have a gray level, what we call it as a intensity. Okay, this intensity is proportional to the density of the tissue. If density is high, then the intensity will be high. Okay, the CT image pixel value is directly proportional to the density of the tissue. You can see in this image there is a white part. So what it indicates, that part is highly dense part. Okay, and the darker part are low dense part. Okay, so if there is a liquid, then that will be low dense part. If there is a air, then it is still low dense part. If there is a hard element, then that is a highly dense part. Okay, so you can see the bone is highly dense, that is why it is looking very wide. Here you can find a low density bones. Okay, that's why they are looking little bit lighter. Okay, so diaphysis and epiphysis. So in epiphysis we have the hollow region also. That's why it is not looking so dense. Diaphysis, it is very hard part. That's why it is entirely looking very wide. Okay, high intensities. So the intensity values in both cortical and callous tissues can be visualized in this CT image. So near diaphysis, what we can find is intensity value is bright, and that's why this part is very dense. And near epiphysis, the intensity values are low. That means the thinner and low and thinner they are, and it appears to very fuzzy, as shown you can see in the images. So there the density is low. Why? Because it contains the hollow part also. So we have understood how actually the CT images bone is visualized. Now we will look at the fracture, because we are working on the fracture. There are variety of fractures. We can find variety of fractures. So here you can see 8 type of fractures. Whenever you are planning to work on these images, you have to be able to identify which type of fracture it is. So 7 they have said, but in fact there are, okay, so 7 types of fractures. So the first one is green stick. Actually bones are not broken, but there are cracks on the bones. In the green stick fracture, you can see a small crack has happened, okay, in the bone. But if that bone breaks into 2 normal break, okay, 2 normal, one completely broken, horizontally broken part, then it is known as transverse fracture. Okay, transverse. Then suppose cross cut has happened, then we call that as a oblique. Then if it is severe cross has happened, then it is called as spiral. Okay, spirally broken, then it is called as spiral. If break happens at the end part of the bone, then it is known as avulsed fracture. Then suppose there are multiple pieces, there are 3 part, okay, 1 part has come out, okay, 3 part, then it is called as segmental. Then if bone has become piece, okay, we call it, no, in some accident bone have become piece, then it is known as communicated. Many pieces, broken into many pieces, okay, only 2 piece or 3 piece, it is segmental. If it is piece, then it is known as communicated. Okay, so again here we can find 2 classifications. Near shaft area, near in the middle part, okay, these six of them are there in the near middle part, that is green stick, transverse, then oblique, then spiral, and segmental. These are all near the shaft part, even communicated also. But if it is near the joint part, that is end part, they say avulsed, and the communicated may also happen in the joint part. Then let us look at how these fractures basically look in the in our images. We have seen normal images in the previous presentation. We have seen the normal bone images. So normal bone images are seen in the upper part, whereas in the lower part, same normal image are shown in the when they are broken. So when the fracture happened, you can see near the shaft there is a this broken part, it is got separated, and in the second you can see the bone have broken into pieces. In the second image near joint area, you can see the displacement has happened. Okay, it is being displaced from the normal region. Okay, so when bone is broken, it looks like this. Okay, it is one example of broken bone. In the normal case, it is looking like this. So this will help the doctors to judge on further treatment. Okay, so now let us come to how we have collected our images for our experiment. Okay, So there are many issues. I was telling why getting images is a very difficult part in your experiment is because there are many issues. So what are the issues? So medical image play a very crucial role in disease diagnosis as well as prognosis, treatment, diagnosis and treatment. So without images, you can't do any diagnosis. Then computed tomography images play crucial role because these are used for bone analysis. X-ray and CT, MRI are used for soft tissues, okay, but CT helps in bone image analysis. So their role play important role in analyzing bone trauma severity and to decide on the recovery plan, both in the treatment as well as recovery. So you can find these bones, bone image CT images in hospitals or in radiology centers who must have these equipments. Okay, they must have CT imaging equipments. There only will be able to find them. So in generally some bigger cities you will have many CT imaging centers, but in small town and villages and all, you can't be able to find. In small towns you can find X-ray imaging centers but not CT imaging centers. Even in our bigger cities also, there will be few number of CT radiology centers, and big hospitals can afford having the CT scanning devices. So what are the issues? Why people won't share these images? So because there are certain issues, such as there is a ethical law called as HIPAA, okay, that is Health Insurance Prohibitory Prohibitory and Accountability Act. So there is a act in America known as HIPAA. So because of this, getting image is very difficult, particularly patient specific image is very difficult. And then getting the patient specific data and data sharing protocols like IRB, Institutional Review Board, I think this is in India. So whenever you want to collect and share patient specific images, many issues are there. That's why getting images, people hesitate to give, because later what happens, if you caught somewhere, then it will create a problem for a diagnostic center also. That radiology center also will face problems. That's why they will hesitate sharing the data. Then from where we have collected our data, we actually contacted many hospitals, many hospitals. You believe it or not, many hospitals, but ultimately some 2 hospitals really came forward to help us. We used many techniques also. We even paid them also. Okay, their radiologists, we have at the lower level people will be there. No, they actually give the images. So we even paid them. We use so many methodology. Even we in a recent paper we have added some radiologist name also in our articles. So these are the things we need to do, because getting image is a very important part. Without that, we can't do any further research. So we used 2 sources. One is from a civil hospital in Solapur. It is known as Sri Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Sarvopachar Rugnalay. It is a civil hospital in the Solapur. We collected many images from there, and then there is one Prism Medical Center in Solapur itself. From there also we collected the images, and we took the written permission from them. Okay, we have given a letter to collect the data, and we took the written permission, because it should not create problem for us also when we use the data. Because whenever you publish the article, generally the journal or the reviewer will ask from where you got the permission, and they may ask you to show the permission letter also. So we need to get them. So no CT scanning were performed personally by us. Okay, it was done by those centers and we collected from them. Okay, we have not done any CT scanning on our own because we are not medical experts also. So the data were collected with a prior permission, consent, and then patient specific cases were pulled. We have collected them. Okay, we have categorized them, because for each patient we have collected the data, and we have collected them, we have archived, we have done proper collection and proper labeling of the data. Okay, and clinical case loads by collaborating with the hospitals and diagnosis centers, because see, their feedback is very important. Okay, simply we collect some data, and without knowledge of data, what type of data it is, it is of no use. Okay, so we should we should also have the knowledge of what actually, which part is broken, which part is good. All that knowledge is required associated with the image. So we have collected with such knowledge also. So no CT scan protocols were prescribed in this experiment. So the technical parameters, if we look at about the images what we have collected, the two devices what we have used. So in the civil hospital, there is a device used, PNMS. Okay, manufactured PNMS model is MX16, and its software version also I have mentioned over here. In Prism, Siemens device is used for collection of the images. And then if we look at more detailed CT acquisition technical details, so here we have mentioned the technical details as kilowatt, kV. Then we have the X-ray tube current specification, image resolution specification. Then slice thickness specifications are mentioned. Then pixel spanning spacing specifications are provided. All these technical details are required when you want to publish an article, your findings in a good journal. These specifications are to be mentioned in your journal articles. Then what kind of inclusion criteria we followed for this? We have use CT case inclusion criteria. CT cases from diagnostic studies, whatever we have collected, that all we have included in our database. Okay, then for which diagnostic studies have been conducted. Okay, we have not simply included all the images. We have conducted studies over them using the experts, and then we have included them. Then the thickness, slice thickness, what we considered is less than 5 mm. This is also important. Then fracture cases, what we have considered, they were CT case having communicated fractures. We have used only communicated fractures. Communicated fractures both in the leg bone as well as the hand bone. Okay, so near joint of the upper and lower limb bones are preferred in our experiment. Okay, so then the annotation process, what we followed. Okay, so we have used the annotation process taken by annotation done by medical experts. Okay, so we took the help of the radiologist to perform these annotations, and then we have done experimentation on these annotated and normally annotated and non-annotated images. We have taken 2 copies of same images. On one, we have asked the radiologist to perform annotation, and then we have done experimentation by keeping these as reference images. So the annotation is subject. What is annotation basically? Annotation is a subjective, and it is a tedious and extremely time-consuming task. To conduct one annotation, we require at least 3 to 4 hours of time. Okay, to conduct a annotation, and these are being done by the radiologists. Okay, done by the residents in the radiologist departments. In the medical hospital, you can find some people known as a residents. They may be researchers, they may be PG students. Okay, they have done this annotation, and then tested and corrected by professors. So after their annotation, we have shown this to professors, seniors. Okay, senior radiologists and all, and they have tested, and they told whether it is correct or not. If there are mistakes, then we have got them corrected also. Okay, that means we should have a perfect data. Okay, so for that, we ourselves can't do anything. We have to get it done by those experts and cross-verified by others also. Then the detailed outline, you can see here, different coloring we have used for different bones. Okay, so red color for one bone, yellow color we have used for another bone, then blue color we have used for another bone. So this way we have colored different parts in the different coloring annotation we have used. So then every 10th slice, see the CT stack is there. So it contains so many slices, thousands of slices. So we have selected every 10th slice in that. Okay, every 10th slice in fractured area, and every slice in a fractured area, every slice we have annotated. In non-fractured area, we have selected every 10th slice. Okay, and then we got it annotated. Then the 3D patient software what we have used. Okay, they are we used a HP computer, a high-end computer we have used, in fact. Then we have used a Mako 2 second generation high sensitivity stylus we used. for the annotation purpose. Stylus is something like a pen, okay, and it is something like a pen, and using that pen we have used a touch screen to mark the region, okay, and to generate, I mean, we have given to radiologists the trainees to develop this, to draw these markings. Then data anonymatization is very important. What is the data anonymatization? See, data contains the patient name, age, sex, the violation of the personal information of the patient. The patient may go to court and he may claim the compensation. Okay, this all happens in America and all. In India, that generally doesn't happen. But we have to be very precautious. We have to remove these information. So for that, contains metadata of the study. The entire information will be there in the DICOM. These are DICOM images we have collected. In the header part, these information will be stored. Okay, so these information primarily includes patient specific information such as patient name, ID, okay, then sex, age, all these information will be there. Then other information also will be there, such as several identifiers like a body part, what we have examined, then image dimension information will be available, then matrix size, image matrix size will be there, then other acquisition parameters are there. So these information we have to remove. So this information is necessary when they conduct the surgery, but when we do experimentation, it is not necessary. So why they are necessary in the images? Because to maintain the relationship between the CT case and slice of the image, they are necessary. And then X-ray image correctly. These informations are necessary. So to maintain patient privacy, detaching the entire DICOM head is very, very important. Okay, header, and it is not an optional. So patient specific information is set of anonymous values. So we have to remove that DICOM part, and we have to only if we look at the overview of the data, what we have collected 24 patient specific data. Okay, 24 patients data, and actually we collected the CT, and the entire CT image comes to 5,684 CT images. Okay, among them we had the fractured images, that is fracture images corresponding to the upper limb. Okay, 8 cases we have collected, and in that 2057 images were there, and then lower limb part 16 cases we have covered, and in that 3627 CT images were there, are there. Okay, so then the average number of slices per image, if we take, it will come to 257 slices, average number of slices in the entire single CT image. Then if we still more look at more detail, then left knee 4 cases we have covered, then the detail like minimum number of slices, maximum number of slices, average number of slices also I have given. I have much details on that. Then right knee 12 images were there, left shoulder 1 image was there, then right shoulder 7 images were there. As I told you, 24 total images and 5,684 total CT, that is CT slices we have collected. Then we have created a database, we have created a structure for that. Shortly, within few days, we will make this data available, open for public also. As I was thinking, even for going for a challenge, grand challenge, this one I want to launch as a grand challenge. We want to go for a grand challenge. A very good collection of data we have, and on this database itself, we have communicated one article to IEEE Imaging. Okay, you must all must be aware, it's very reputed journal. So we have communicated. So we have created a very systematic structure of the cases, and based on the cases, based on the parts, all that, and we have stored this data. We have made a storage of this data. And then unwanted artifacts may also be present in this. Okay, so may also be present. We have to look at that part also. So what is this unwanted artifact? Unwanted artifact, CT image may contain some unwanted artifacts or unwanted things which may create problem in further processing. So what are those? Such as CT bed, there may be certain cables available, or in the image you may have flash also. Okay, while conducting the CT, you may get these unwanted things in the images which are not important for you, so you need to remove or you need to do some pre-processing and you have to eliminate that so as to go to actual part what you are interested for. So then presence of such artifact may produce difficulties in the development of CAD system or for the fracture detection and analysis. So these has to be removed. So for that, what techniques we need to apply? So the techniques what we need to apply for this removal are cropped from all directions. You need to crop them from all directions from because we are getting the three-dimensional view of the image. So even we have done the cropping, and then we have used the histogram modeling. Okay, histogram modeling also we have used for enhancing the quality of the image. Okay, so these two techniques we have used in our pre-processing stage. Then let us look at what results we got when we conducted these. So we have used a histogram stretching in the pre-processing. So basically histogram stretching will make a low contrast image to a high contrast image. It converts a low contrast image to a high contrast image. So histogram provides global information of the entire image. It provides a overall information of the entire image. Then the histogram says CT is a low contrast or a high contrast image. So if it is a low contrast, we need to enhance. So you can see in the side there is a graph. Okay, so this is basically a low contrast. Okay, graph shows a low contrast, and to increase and make it a high contrast, we have to basically stretch this graph. Okay, this is a histogram graph. Okay, this is a histogram graph. We have to stretch it. That's why the name is histogram stretching. Okay, based on this, because we are stretching the graph, so because of that it is known as the histogram stretching. Okay, so the here the result you can find how we perform histogram stretching, that also is shown here. Okay, so basically it is a simple expression. You can see any image processing book, there you can find this histogram stretching technique. So using these, we use the input, and then we use certain threshold values and all, and then we perform histogram stretching. You can see the result of the histogram stretching. The one image which is input image, which is a low contrast image, and after performing histogram, background has gone. Okay, only the bony part is quite visible, and that too clearly visible. Okay, so this will help us in analyzing the bony part, and the rest of the background is totally missing from this image. Okay, so this is the advantage of conducting the pre-processing stage. Then I have some algorithm that I will not focus on anyway. I am giving you this PPT itself. You can go through what all the things we have done, what is the flow of our entire processing that is shown in this algorithm. Then I will show you the actual results what we got. Okay, we have done labeling. Okay, these are the input images. After conducting the pre-processing, we got the results what you can see over here, and then we have performed the segmentation over these regions, and we could be able to identify. You can see here some numbers. Okay, so these are the original images. After pre-processing, segmentation, labeling, everything, the final output I have shown you. Okay, I have not shown you intermediate results. The final output, okay, after conducting pre-processing, segmentation, and then classification. Okay, the final output, what you can see, we have labeled each and every piece. Okay, this is actually a broken. Okay, this is not the normal. The above one is a normal. You can see only two labels. In the first one, it is the normal image. Okay, non-broken image. In the second one, you can find it is broken into pieces. Okay, and we have labeled them. Okay, we have labeled each piece. In the upper one, you can see only two labels, 11 and 21. In the lower, you can see 4 labels, that is 4 broken, each is broken into two pieces. Okay, 11 and 12, there are 2 labels, and then 21 and 24, these are labels. So likewise in the cortical tissue, here you can see each labeling we have done with a different color also. We have used a different coloring for each labels. You can see 21, 13, 12, 11. So in the first bone, it is broken into 3 pieces. First, this little bit upper one, it is broken into 3 pieces. Okay. Whereas the second part, it is intact. It is intact. It is not broken. Only this bone is broken. And in the other one, we have labeled it. I think this is normal one. Okay. Cancellous tissue. Okay. Normal. They are normal. They are not broken. So they are labeled a single one. Then what we done, once we conducted this experiment, we have labeled, we have measured where the broken parts are, and then we have measured the accuracy because we had annotated images. We compared our result with the annotated images, and then we have measured our accuracy of our experiments. So what you can find for accuracy, number of pixels in the union set and number of pixels of annotated set, we have just taken the ratio and multiplied by 100. So that gives us what is the percentage of accuracy of our technique. And then we have compared our technique with the different techniques that are being available in the literature. So one technique that is based on the thresholding is available, and their result is 84%. This is work done by others. I'm not talking about our work. Then somebody used active contour technique. They have used mask as the input, and then they got multiple regions, and then their accuracy is 90.12%. Then some other research used the region growing technique, and then they use the seed point, and then they use the this region seed they have measured, and they got 92.32%. We used the simple technique here, no deep learning technique we have used yet. We have used simple technique. In our proposed technique, we didn't use any of these. We have directly taken the CT images, and then we have gone for a region isolation of the region of interest, and then we have used our techniques for pre-processing techniques we have used, then segmentation techniques we have used, and then we have extracted bone fracture region, and we have compared our result. Our result was 95.45%. So this is actually the simple experimentation we have done, and then later we are using these results for development of the simulators. So finally, what I would conclude from this entire presentation is that here we have used a CAD system for bone fracture detection and analysis, which is presented over here. Then we have proposed the CAD system involving 3 steps. Okay, here we have conducted 3 steps in our experiment. That is, we have done flesh removal. Okay, so where a simple and precise histogram modeling we have used, and contrast stretching based pre-processing techniques also we have used here. Then the responsible for removing unwanted artifacts also we have done over here, and then we have done the enhancement of bone parts. Then the region of interest also we have extracted. So it is it's a connected component region of interest. It's basically a connected component. So connected component based on segmentation algorithm. We have proposed one segmentation algorithm. We can go through that. Has been designed to extract and label the fractured bone pieces. Then we have performed the labeling also. We have seen in the results, we have labeled properly the bone broken pieces also we have properly labeled them, assigned a unique label to each fractured bone piece while taking bone anatomy into the account. Then we have used hierarchical techniques we have adopted for labeling. Hierarchical technique we have adopted, a tree kind of structure. So start with 1, okay, among them if we have pieces, then label them as 1, 2, 3, something like that. Another bone part start at 2, okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, then that will start with the 21, 22, 23 like that. So that hierarchical technique we have adopted. So what the results we have got, we have tested on real patient specific CT scans that we have ourselves collected it, and we have got a good result of 95.45%, and we compared with some of the other methods also. Then in future what we would like to do. So we are planning to make a database, whatever we have created, that we want to make it available to public. See, on database itself, my students spent more than 2 years to collect this database, to annotate the data, okay, make them all this systematic way he has done. He has spent more than 2 years, okay. So this lot of research is involved in preparation of database itself. So in this study, every 10th CT slice is annotated. What we have done, we got annotated every 10th slice, and for fractured part, every slice we have annotated. Okay, then we plan to employ modern data-driven segmentation methods in future, such as retina set and mask RCNN. Okay, we want to use neural network techniques. So to automatically segment the rest of the bone parts, we have taken only 10 slice. No, remaining slice, the 9 slice also we want to use a automatic method to do annotation. Then we aim to develop a time and space efficient volume visualization model, okay, to visualize fractured bone 3D plane. Okay, we want to develop a 3-dimensional visualization model where doctor can clearly visualize 3D model, and they can rotate, they can do all these, and they can, this will be really help, should help them in their practice, in during training or during the conduct of surgery or during the examination also. So these are some of the published works, okay, published works based on the entire work what we are working on this problem. So one paper has been published on a review of orthopedic simulators. We have done a extensive review of existing orthopedic simulators for conducting the psychomotor skill and surgical procedure. So this is published in the Journal of Medical Systems by Springer. It's a SCI journal, science cited journal. It's a Scopus also, indexed in Scopus. So it is having good Scopus indexing. It is just published in 2018. We have already got 27 citations. Then another related paper also we have published, that is automated fracture bone segmentation and labeling.
Sir, please unmute.
I don't know how I got muted. Okay.
Hello.
Okay.
Ravindra sir, kindly unmute.
Okay, I have unmuted. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
you're
yes.
audible.
Yes, sir.
So I was just talking about, we have whatever the results we got, intermediate results. One of my student is working on that, as I told. So we have published, we have done an extensive survey on the existing simulators, because we want to develop some simple simulators. We have done a good survey on existing simulators which are used for psychomotor skill and surgical procedures. And on that, we written a survey article on simulators, and that is published in Journal of Medical Systems, which is by Springer, and it is having good citation also. It is published in 2018, but 27 Scopus citations already we got it. And then the extension current work, what I have presented, that is automated fracture bone segmentation and labeling from CT images. That is the this is the article. This also published in Journal of Medical Systems, and based on that I have prepared my presentation. Then we have published one on segmentation analysis of CT images for bone fracture detection and labeling. It's a book chapter actually. Then we have published one article in a conference, that is contrast stretching based unwanted artifact removal from CT images. And currently, as I was telling, we have communicated one article on the image data what we have collected. Okay, purely image data that we have communicated to IEEE medical imaging. So this is what actually I wanted to present today. We have another 10 minutes. So anybody have any questions? I am ready to take them. I will check the chat box for the questions.
Thank you, sir. This is Mallikarjun Wali speaking.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. You can take up some questions. Later we will discuss, sir. Yeah.
Sir?
You can take up the questions in the chat box. Yeah.
Okay, there is one question. Sir, as I am from computer science and doing PhD research on data analysis in healthcare through machine learning, sir, kindly suggest me the techniques for data analysis, as there are many, and also the stage where should I start my research. As I have published one review based paper in Scopus listed journal, now in a dilemma where to go from this point. For this research, it is Usha researcher. I would suggest you, if you are doing the medical imaging research, please be associated with any hospital or any doctor. Without them, it is highly impossible for you to proceed, because what happens, you will have a lot of energy that I can do this, that, because you must have studied some literature and all. But ultimately, when you come to the point where you want to see, if you want to publish any good article, they will ask from where you collected the data, whether your data is being verified by the physicians or radiologists, whether you have shown your results to them. See, these kind of questions are being arised by every journal, good journal I am talking about. Okay. So then we will face real difficulty. So I suggest, my student has gone to so many hospitals, so many doctors he met. Okay, ultimately he was able to have some good doctors, 2-3 doctors who are really helping us. So without their help, it is impossible to conduct any experiment. Okay, so whenever any student come to me and ask, tell me that, sir, I will do medical imaging research. First thing I will ask that student, from where you are getting the data. Okay, from whom you are interacting. So this is important question. If you get the answer for this, then your 25% of your problem is solved. And then regarding domain and all, that is what. So wherever you get the help, that will be your domain. You have to identify, you have to go and interact with the physicians, and you can find the problem from them. Even when I did my research, so my guide was totally unaware of a problem I have chosen. It was surprising for him, because he suggested me many different type of document analysis, character recognition, all these kind of problems. Then I was developing a small software for a doctor. Okay, a endoscopy software I was developing for a doctor. Then I discussed with the doctor more in detail. What are the kind of problem you identify in this? Every day I used to sit with him for for a half an hour and hour, and we used to frankly discuss. He was so frank with me, and he gave me the problem domain, and he told me on these and these problems you can work. So I taken that problem, and I had free access to his database, and even he used to give me proper feedback on the images, kind of images, and also that's how really that helped me in doing the research. Otherwise, it won't have been, I won't have been done research in that area. Okay, so let us look at the next question. Sir, I'm doing disease detection using machine learning. Okay, good. You can please go ahead. But which disease, which doctor have given you details of the disease, all that are very important over here. Want to apply deep learning? Okay, so you can apply deep learning, but you have to learn deep learning techniques, and you should also know where exactly it is useful in your entire in your research. Any course suggested for learning deep learning? Okay, so in the MOOC, okay, NPTEL, there are deep learning courses. 2-3 courses are there. You can join for those courses. They are really informative. Okay, so you can join them. Any other questions?
Hello, sir. Can I ask you to writing the question?
Yeah, you can ask.
Sir, as you have already answered my question, that I am from CSC and I am Usha this side.
Okay.
So now the question is like I have gone through a lot of techniques. For example, we have association rule based mining technique for kind of analyzing the medical data.
Okay.
I have 2 or 3 persons who are doctors who are currently working in the government hospital, and I I'm sure I'll get the data from them also. Now
Okay.
the point of discussion is uh, I sort of kind of confusion in a confusion that which technique would give me the best result.
No, you
There
are talking about data mining. Okay, so we are talking about image processing. So these are two different things: data mining and
exact
image processing. Data mining, in data mining, you will not get the image information like broken part, all those information you will not get. Data mining, what it gives? There in data mining, you are not at all reading any pixel. No, you are not reading
Mm-hmm.
image. You are only
Yes,
mining the text part in that. So we are first
exactly.
of all we are removing that text part. I told you no
Mm-hmm.
DICOM. In DICOM image, we are removing that text part. We are only working on the image part. But you are doing opposite. You are removing the image part and you are working on the text part. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Your problem domain is different. Our domain is different. Okay. So we purely work on images. You purely work on the text content. Okay.
Exactly,
So,
exactly.
in fact, I have done many work on data mining also, but this domain means the FDP what is conducted. I think they are not on the. I don't know whether there may be any other sessions on the mining part. So there you can ask this question. We are not working on the data mining. We are no, not working on the text mining. We are working on the image processing.
Okay, thank you,
There is
sir.
one question. Okay, welcome. There is one question. How to get gap in medical research? Gap in medical research. Okay. So, which medical papers and technical papers to refer? I refer some of the doctors, but could not get much. Okay. So, doctors will. It is very difficult to help if doctors are a good friend of you, then only it will be helpful. Or your guide is good friend of some of the doctors, then only it will be helpful. This you please keep in mind. Okay. So getting doctor's help is very difficult because doctor always think that if I spend 1 hour with you, they are going to lose 10,000 rupees on the patients. Okay, they can conduct one surgery and charge them 5,000, 10,000, something like that. So it is very difficult to get any information from the doctor unless they are good friend of either you or your guide. Then identifying gaps. So, okay. So I told you, I have shown you in the previous presentation, there are many medical that grand challenges are there. Plenty of grand challenges are there. From there also you can get the gaps. You can get the images. You can even get even funded also. In some of the challenges, they are also funding. Okay. So there you can get everything. Can we get text label instead of numbers? Text label instead of numbers. Which text label you are talking about? I don't know. Which number you are talking about? I don't know. Segmentation part. Okay, okay. Okay, so we are, okay, you are talking, yeah, that you can do, I think. You can do, it seems, you can try on that. We are getting, label is important for the doctor because doctor know on which part he is doing surgery. Okay, so for that reason, how many pieces it has broken, what is the shape of each label, this is important for the doctor. Okay, how many pieces it has broken into, you know on which part he has taken the image. Okay, whether he has taken on the hand bone or leg bone or any backbone and all, he know exactly what part it is, but how many pieces it has broken, what shapes each piece has taken, because he want to join them, he want to stitch them. Okay, or he want to fit a rod over there. So for that reason, number of pieces and shape of each piece is very important. Medical papers and technical papers to refer, sir. You can find plenty of papers. Okay, you can refer some good journals, particularly the Journal of Medical System by Springer. Our two papers are there, and then IEEE Medical Imaging. Plenty of papers you can find. Okay, you can refer them. Okay.
Hello, sir. Hello,
Yes.
sir.
Yeah,
Sir,
yeah.
I'm doing research in medical domain only. Like I'm doing on cervical cancer. So I'm getting few results, but how do I validate it, sir? like doctors will not assist because they are not good friends also. Usually they will
Okay.
not guide also
You
because I
have you
don't know.
attended my previous presentation? Have you attended?
Yes, sir.
In that I have given you one website address, Grand
Hmm.
Challenges. There you
Yes.
can go. Okay,
Okay.
so instead of
Hmm.
selecting your own problem, you select one
Okay.
of the problems which are specified over there. Their
Okay.
challenges are also there. Okay, so you can
Hmm.
attempt those challenges. I mean, easy way.
Okay. Okay. So, if I'm getting results, would I validate it, sir? I'm not getting this.
There they will provide you annotated images and
Ah,
non-annotated images. Both type of images will be available over there with information
okay.
on that. Okay, complete
Okay.
information
Okay.
on
Okay.
the image data.
Okay. Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yeah. Yeah. So I hope there are no more questions from the participants. Sir, on behalf of institute and on behalf of organizing committee, I thank my close friend and one of the eminent researcher, Professor Ravindra Hegde, for giving a wonderful sessions for two sessions. In fact, first session and the second session. And I was keeping the feedback from my faculties here, and they expressed that the presentations were very useful and very informative for the researchers. In this regard, I feel that these two sessions were very useful for all the participants of this packet development program. And on behalf of the institute, personally and the organizing committee, I immensely thank Professor Ravindra Hegde for sparing his valuable time and sharing his research thoughts and making an ignition and motivation for all the participants in this particular packet development program. So thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful sessions. I have with me my department chairman, Professor Kumar Ganapati Reddy. He will be saying one or two words.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. Actually, very informative session. I have attended your talk. Very nice, nice to hear from you, from such a central university professor. Thank you so much. Hope everybody have understood, have gone through this very good session. Thank you, sir. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me for this session. I will share the presentations with the organizers. Thank you again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, all the participants. Thank you. The third session will be starting at 3 p.m. All of you be login by 2:45.
Hello.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, sorry, can I disturb? Can I ask one question?
Yeah, whether I know whether sir is there or not.
Yeah.
I am there.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. I'm Snehal from Mumbai. Actually, I'm new to this particular domain, as in I was very curious to know about this domain. And sir, actually, it happens whenever we used to, interested in doing such any like your final year projects or PG projects or research in this domain. So actually, I want which where it is basically what happened. No, earlier my experiences we worked with certain diseases and all. So in that major problem we faced is about getting the data set. So that was then we have worked hard, we have visited so many hospitals and got the data set and all, it is okay. But now, sir, at the research level, if the PG students and all want to work in this domain, so whether it is advisable, sir, as in always students complaint is that, ma'am, database is not there, data set is not there. So what's your suggestion, sir, please?
Madam, I repeatedly told data is very, very important.
Yes, actually.
Without data, it is impossible. See, data as well as the feedback from doctors.
Yes.
So to avoid that problem only, many websites are also there. Even NIH, National Institute of Health, has created a very huge database. But I don't know whether they have annotated data or not. But if you visit the Grand Challenge, there they have declared some maybe around hundreds of Grand Challenges are there. There, student has to register, they have to log in, and then they will get the data. And they not only get the data, they also get the problem domain also. What actually student need to do.
Okay.
And based on this, many other students, many others across the world are attempting on these problems. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
what is your task? Best way is to suggest to students to visit such websites, maybe NIH database or the Grand Challenge database, or in some places they must have, in some websites you must find some such kind of challenges and attempt it. Otherwise, if you have a good doctor giving image as well as the information on the image, then that is really good.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Then we will.
So thank you very much for sparing your valuable time with us. Thank you all the participants. The today's third session will be starting at 3 p.m. I request all the participants to join back and log in by 2:45. So at sharp 3 o'clock we start the third session. Okay. Have a wonderful time. Have a very nice lunch and get back to the session by 2:45. Thank you, Anita. You call.